Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Friday, June 4th, 2021 years from the year zero. And today we want to talk about what happened last night. Now, yesterday was a bit of a busy day. That's why I didn't record, was because the Red Sox were playing at 2, the Bruins were playing at 7, and you had that Suns Lakers game at 10 o'clock. I'm sorry, guys. I needed to record the episode today because if I was going to do it yesterday, I was going to do it between 5 and 7, do a bunch of predictions. But honestly, I think this is the best scenario. But let's get into it. Let's talk about what happened last night. And what happened last night was, for the first time in his illustrious, storied career, LeBron James lost in the first round of the NBA playoffs. What does this say? Well, it says a lot. It says a lot of what I've thought actually over the past year. A lot there have been a lot of people saying that Frank Vogel was this great coach and that no, he's not like a terrible coach that flamed out in Orlando and got the job pretty much because he was the only guy left. No, it was because he was actually a good coach, except he wasn't. And you saw that throughout this series and last night. And okay, with AD, I get AD being hurt. But Marc Gasol starting? You started Marc Gasol? Oh my. He's a dinosaur. That man should be nowhere near an NBA court. All right. I don't think I've ever seen like just a player that's just more out of it than him. Now, the next player we're going to get to is Kyle Kuzma. 1 for 6 for a guy that was labeled at one point the future star of the franchise, probably the third best player in many people's opinion on that team at one point, maybe even the second. But now is kind of the time where you sit back and you're like, you know what? Kyle Kuzma was a good player on a bad team. He is now on a good team, and he is a bad player. All right. And a bunch of people are saying he needs to go to China. And honestly, if the Lakers hadn't signed him to that contract extension this offseason, he would have been on a plane straight for Beijing because he is just terrible right now. Terrible. God awful. Just like he's kind of like he's a joke. But I digress. We must talk about LeBron because that's nobody could you could talk about Kuzma and AD and all those guys. I know Laker fans and LeBron fans are gonna love to talk about how this isn't LeBron's fault or how it isn't um the fault of how it's everybody else's fault. At the end of the day, this is a man that has a reputation, and we heard it that 2018 Cavs LeBron was going to show up out of nowhere, and he was going to take this team all the way to the finals. They were going to beat Brooklyn, and he was going to be rightfully placed on his throne as the greatest basketball player of all time. What happened? I thought this man could carry a team by himself. I thought we were going to see playoff Braun. What? Where'd he go? Hello? Playoff Braun. Where are you? Oh, yeah, that's right. He just didn't show up. At the end of the day, the Lakers were just the Suns were the better team. I said this weeks ago when I was making my NBA playoff predictions that the Suns were going to win this series in 6 because the Suns were the better team all year. The Lakers treated this regular season as a 72 game exhibition. All they cared about was making the playoffs. And sometimes that might work, but at other times it doesn't. And this showed it. I don't think I've seen more people go on past success for predicting a single playoff series than I did with this one with LeBron. I get it. He is one of the greatest players to ever play this game. But at the same time, he is still mortal. He still has only so much. And it showed. And you could see it. Maybe he doesn't get a call. And instead of running back out on defense, he's complaining to the ref, and the Suns get to play with an extra man. Before you know it, the Suns have a 30-point lead, gets cut down to about 8 midway through the fourth quarter. And that's where Chris Paul comes in and he says, all right, we're not going to do this. We are not going to lose this game and let LeBron have an opportunity to win the series in Game 7. But yeah, that's what happened. LeBron lost in the first round. And personally, I have hated the narrative from LeBron fans that whenever somebody brings up, Michael Jordan had 6 rings, and they'll bring up that LeBron never lost in the first round. Not anymore. LeBron's done in terms of having that achievement over his head. In all honesty, we'll probably all call LeBron the greatest player in the NBA until he retires. Why? Because he at least had been. Now, could you make an argument that after he went to the Lakers, he kind of declined, and then he had the bubble, and then this year he was doing well, and then, yes. But there is no fan in the NBA that I know that will sit down after this series and say, LeBron's not the best player in the NBA anymore. Now, let's say the Mavs win the finals. The Mavs win the finals, the Bucks win the finals, the Nets win the finals. Maybe one of those players gets crowned as the new best player in the NBA. Maybe, if Kawhi can win 2 games on the road and at home, and they can go to the second round, and they can go to the third, they can go to the Western Conference Finals and to the NBA Finals, and they win it. Maybe Kawhi is that player. Maybe if Kevin Durant takes the Brooklyn Nets to the NBA Finals and wins it there, maybe he's the best player in the world. Maybe if the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Brooklyn Nets, beat the Philadelphia 76ers, and beat whoever comes out of the West, maybe he's the best player in the world. Hey, he won back-to-back MVPs. Doesn't that mean something? There are certain players in this league that have been waiting for a moment like this. Where LeBron is out early and it's not because he was on a bad team. That team won a title last year. It's because the Lakers were not the better team. At the end of the day, the better team was the Phoenix Suns. You saw it throughout the regular season. You saw it throughout this series. There's a reason the Suns were the 2 seed. There's a reason the Suns were at home. There is not a single player that could have changed that. And I am personally very, very proud of what the Phoenix Suns did. Because what they did for the first time ever was knock the king, LeBron James, out in the first round. Now, I know the NBA didn't like it because LeBron, he brings ratings. The Lakers bring ratings. The NBA probably wanted the Lakers to go to at least the Western Conference Finals. But now LeBron is gone. He's out of the picture. And this is an opportunity, really, for another superstar. Giannis, Luka, Kawhi, KD, and Harden, and Kyrie, Embiid. Assert yourself as the new guy, as the new best player in the world, as the new leader of this league. This is your shot. If you win a title, if one of those guys, Durant, Harden, well, they're on the same team, Giannis, Luka, if one of those guys wins the title, you know what we'll be talking about? LeBron has passed the torch to that player. And if any one of you guys is listening, it could be you. It could be any one of those superstars that have been waiting for an opportunity like this. An opportunity to go out there and prove that you are the best in the world. To prove that Giannis at 26 or Luka at 22 or KD at 32 or anyone else on the planet. Who is bigger than you? The only thing that is in the way of any one of those players is the other superstars vying for that position. But this is a turning point. This is a point where one superstar will come out of this playoffs and we will have to say, you know what? That man right there is the best player on the planet and the number one player in the NBA. Who will that be? We'll see. But it'll be fun to watch. Also, LeBron revealed yesterday that he would not be participating in the Olympics. I wasn't really surprised. After the bubble, short off season, and really the fact that it's June and the Olympics are starting in July, it doesn't surprise me that we're just gonna. He's not. He said, "quote I'm facing the Goon Squad. I'm focused on the Goon Squad. I'm not focused on the Olympics. I've already got 2 gold medals. I don't need it. I am going to focus my time and my energy on Space Jam." You know what? Good for LeBron. Good for him. He's going to get his movie, which is going to come out on July 16th. And if I remember correctly, the NBA Finals is supposed to start around July 4th. And I think Game 7 might be July 18th. So, LeBron's movie is going to be featured heavily in advertisements during the NBA Finals. When teams are coming in and saying, "Yeah, we like the attention LeBron's getting, even though it's the NBA Finals." However, if the Clippers get eliminated tonight, it will be the first time since 2014 that a non-California team will represent the West. And if the Mavericks get eliminated as well in the second or third round, it would be the first time since 2012 a non-California nor Texas team nor Oklahoma. If you want to include Oklahoma, we would go back all the way to 1998. And guess who it was? The Utah Jazz back in 98. Now, Utah will face the winner of the Clippers Maverick series, and the Suns will face the Nuggets. The MVP of this league, Nikola Jokic, will face Chris Paul and Devin Booker and Jay Crowder and a team that has all the momentum in the world. And that will have an opportunity, really, to represent the West and win a finals. But back in the East, you might actually have the 2 best teams in the NBA right now. In the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks facing off. Now, my prediction, I'm gonna say this for the record. The Brooklyn Nets will beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 7 games. This is going to be a 7-game, hard-fought series. Giannis, there's nobody really on the Nets that can guard him, but there's nobody on the Bucks that can really guard Kyrie, KD, and Harden. That monster is just going to be too much for the Bucks, but we will see what happens there. All right, let's talk a little bit about the NHL. Colorado taking a 2-0 lead off a Mikko Rantanen goal on Wednesday night, certifying themselves as having the momentum going back to Vegas, where the Golden Knights will host games 3 and 4. The Bruins last night, they played a very complete game. They We're at 1-0 for most of the game until a Matt Barzal goal with about 5 minutes left in the game before we went to overtime, where Brad Marchand scored an amazing goal to win it for the Bruins in Long Island and take the series momentum to the Bees. And really, they have an opportunity to put their foot down on Saturday night. The Carolina Hurricanes, they needed to win this game against Tampa to have any shot, and they did in overtime. They will face off on, I think, Saturday or Sunday. It'll be quite interesting to see what happens there. Mark Scheifele of the Winnipeg Jets suspended 5 games for his brutal hit that he had late in the game on an empty netter by Montreal. I keep forgetting the name of the player that got hit, but Scheifele got suspended 5 games. So he would not be able to come back until a potential Game 7 of these Stanley Cup playoffs. And then that's in the NHL. Red Sox and Yankees, the rivalry renews this weekend. Garrett Cole pitched last night, so it'll be the Yankees who split a series with Tampa. The Red Sox lost 3-1 in their series against the Astros. It is going to be a very fun weekend. Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Red Sox against Michael King. Then tomorrow it will be Eduardo Rodriguez against Jameson Taillon. And then Sunday night it'll be Garrett Richards against Domingo Germán. And we will see. We will see who wins this first series. It's a real surprise that the Yankees and Red Sox have not faced off each other all year. But they will tonight and over the next 3 games. So with that, I bid you all adieu. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you guys all soon. Good night, everyone. Have a good weekend.